to the second part of our series on upper body strength. Last week or last video we did lots of different versions of downward facing dog, strengthening up the hands and the wrists and the arms in those many different versions. And we're going to start to move towards plank pose, or top of a push-up position. We're going to go slowly, gradually, and we're going to still put some downward facing dogs in and go over what we did last time. It's a beginner level practice, so you might need a couple of bricks. You shouldn't need a strap, but you might need a couple of bricks, and that's about it. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to start lying down, and we're going to get connected to the breath and just get everything nice and settled before we begin there. But I just wanted to show you what our first position is going to be, because you'll be lying down already when we do it. So you're going to roll to one side, and you're going to take one arm so that it comes up your back. Now, we're not looking for your biggest stretch ever, and then you're going to roll back onto that hand and maybe take the other arm up. You're not trying to touch your fingers, it's quite passive. Okay. So you're going to come down and you're going to lie down on your back. I'm going to turn this way so that when we do that hand thing, you'll be able to see what it looks like from there. Will that be the right way around? No, I'll turn that this way. So you're going to lie down on your back and start off with your feet wide, your knees knocking together, and just check out what's going on in your lower back. Stay if there's any sort of tension there that you need to unravel, or you can stretch your legs out and let your feet fall out towards the corners of your mat. And then I'm going to put one hand over my chest, over my heart, and the other hand on my belly, so that I can really feel that connection to my breath. And then with your eyes closed, just let your shoulders relax. Wherever your body's in contact with the floor, really get heavy there and drop down. And wherever your body's not in contact with the floor, just quickly scan through and check whether you're holding your body away from the floor in any way, there's any tension there, and just relax that too. And drop into the stillness. Not always easy, depending on what you've been doing before you got on your mat, but you're beginning that process of being able to be still and being able to move. And start to feel your breath underneath your hands. As you inhale, feeling the expansive quality of your breath in. So you're creating space, sort of expansion within the body. And as you exhale, there's a release and a softening with the exhale, and dropping down again. And this is like your physical body. Sometimes you're not able to just drop straight into stillness and be perfectly relaxed. The same goes for your breath. It's just a process that you're beginning. Oh, hello, Deva. It's a process that you're beginning, and your breath will build into more of a rhythm that suits you as you move through your practice. And it's that aligning, that merging of your breath and of your awareness that by the end of your practice, maybe even sooner, is going to create that stillness in your mind, that clarity and that quiet of your mind. So you can stay here for as long as you would like to. And then you're going to bend your knees And you're just going to roll to the left and take your right hand, like I showed you before, and just ease it up your back and then roll back onto it. And you can change the angle of your hand so that it feels more comfortable. And then you can stay with your left hand just still resting on your belly, or you can take your left hand towards the space between your shoulder blades and make a little pillow for your head. And you can have your legs straight, but I just find that with my knees bent, it kind of tips the weight more into my upper body and helps me to feel a little bit more sensation in the stretch. So if you want less, then you can straighten your legs. We'll take a little bit of the sensation out of the pose. And then I'm going to slowly roll onto my left side and support my head in my hand and just relax this right arm over. Maybe give the wrist a little bit of a shake out. And then rolling back onto your back for the other side. So rolling to your right, taking your left hand up, and then rolling back over that left hand, and then maybe taking your right hand down the middle of your back, make a little pillow for your head. So I'm getting a bit of a tricep stretch in this right arm, so you don't have to do that part like I said last time, but I'm getting a little bit of stretch through the upper arm, which will be useful later, and I'm getting some stretch through my wrist and my lower arm and my hand, but also because I've got my hand underneath my chest or underneath my ribs, I'm getting an opening in the chest as well. So as I breathe, I can really feel that opening between the ribs into those intercostal muscles. And then slowly release by rolling onto the right side. Just prop yourself up, take this left arm and just let it dangle over the crown of your head. You can just shake out any movements with your hand, just release your wrist. And then from here you're going to press yourself up to a seat and stretch your legs out in front. So we will be adding a little bit of mobility into the practice, a little bit of hip opening. So you're just going to cross your right ankle over your left thigh. You can hold on to that right foot and just keep that foot flexed. And then you're just going to do some little presses. So I'm pressing my knee down, but then I'm not pulling it up. I'm just letting it rebound up and just let it in this gentle pulsing action. Open up through the hip a little bit deeper. And you can do that for as long as you feel its benefit. Like 20 minutes, I don't think it's going to make much difference after the first few minutes, but and then switch left ankle over the right thigh. And again, little pulses with that left knee. So it is my tighter side. So in my own practice, I'd probably do it a bit longer on this side, just to create some more balance. So again, it's just that gentle rebounding up of the leg. from here, you can cross your ankles or you can take your legs over to the side, and you're just going to come onto all fours. And from your all fours position, we're going to do two things. From last video or last week, we're going to come onto the pads of your fingers, line up your middle fingers towards the front of the mat, and then slowly start to lower to the third knuckle, and then slowly start to lower the heels of the hands, so that there's weight in the front of the hand as well as in the heel of the hand. You're not just dumping all the weight into the heel of the hand and into your wrists. And then from here, we're going to stretch the right leg out, and so you stretch out the leg, but I also want you to feel if you really push your right heel back and squeeze this right leg, all the muscles on this right leg, this is like plank pose, but half a plank pose. So I'm going to pull my ribs down, lengthen my tailbone, push the floor away with my hands, and really engage that leg. And then switch, second side. So left leg, stretching the leg, that's the sort of dual action of the pose. And then push the floor away, wrap your biceps in, roll your triceps back, hug your arms towards one another. Push your heel away and really squeeze all the muscles in that leg. And then pull your ribs down, lower your tailbone towards your heel, towards the back of your mat. And release. And then from here, same as we did last week, we're just going to do some hip circles. So I'm going clockwise with my circles, going all the way back and coming as far forwards as your mobility will allow. Good. Just one more. And then you're going to slowly come all the way down onto your belly and bring your forehead to the floor. So your back body strength is really important in plank pose. Just going to have your hands down by your sides, but roll your thumbs down towards the floor and your little fingers up towards the ceiling. And then push the tops of your feet into the floor. Really engage through your legs. And then push, even squeezing your glutes, push your hips into the floor. Keep your toes on the floor. And then as you inhale, lift your head and shoulders and reach your hands back. And you're just going to do some little pulses. So you're lowering down and lifting up on the inhale. Reaching your hands back. I want you to feel that you're engaging all the muscles in your back body. And you can go slower than this, probably not quicker than this, but the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands either side of your ribs, press yourself up, keep your hips over your knees, walk your hands forwards. You can use a brick underneath your forehead. You're going to hug your inner thighs in, hug your arms in, start to lift your sit bones up and drop your forehead to the floor. So, like I said, you can have your forehead on a brick, but you're trying to melt the space between your shoulder blades, giving your arms some activation here in your arms, pushing down through your palms, especially into your middle finger, really pushing through your middle finger down into the floor. And then inhale, walking your hands back underneath your shoulders, and you're going to circle in the opposite direction. So anti-clockwise, circling. Same alignment with your arms. Trying to keep your arms straight. So you're not bending your elbows. And it's a little bit more difficult for me in my right wrist where I've got the injury, but you know, this is what's going to help me to recover from that injury, and hopefully if you're not injured, then you're just going to build a lot more strength in your wrist. And then from here, I'm going to come back to all fours, and we're just going to do that same action for like half a plank pose. We're just going to add on a little bit and bring a little bit more core strength into it. So I'm just going to walk forwards a little bit. Same action with the arms and the hands, and you're going to press that right leg back. So you're pushing the floor away. Now you're going to start to really engage your core. I'm pushing my heel away and engaging my leg, and I'm going to hover this knee. So you're not coming into full plank, but you're getting a little bit of the feel of pushing the floor away. So you get a really high plank, lowering your tailbone down, but pulling your ribs down so that you're getting your core working. And then set that left knee down, set your right knee down. Same thing on the other side. So you're going to stretch your left leg back, push the floor away, push your heel back, really engage that leg, pull your ribs down, hover your right knee. Keep pulling the ribs down, keep pulling your navel up, so you're really engaging your core, and then slowly right knee down and left knee down. Come all the way down onto the floor, onto your belly. And same thing, but this time you want to interlace your fingers, so it's a stretch for your wrists as well. And you're going to start to pull as if you're trying to pull your fingers apart. So you can stay with your elbows bent and keep pulling your fingers and squeezing your shoulder blades together, or you can straighten your arms, okay? And then push through your feet, lift the backs of your legs up, push your hips down, and then lift and lift and lift. So your feet want to lift as well. So just consciously keep that activation down through the feet and up through the legs, pushing your hips down, really using your back body to lift. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands either side of your ribs. Press yourself up. One more time into your, sometimes they call it puppy pose, heart melting pose. Sanskrit name is Anahatasana, which is heart pose, heart opening pose, or heart chakra pose. So lots of different words for this pose, but basically you're trying to drop the space between your shoulder blades down towards the floor. And then, just going to have a little check. Yeah. So what we're going to do from here is you're going to bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, but then walk them a little bit further forwards. And we're going to do some half plank. So what we did before was like half plank because you're just doing it on one side. This time we're just not lifting the knees up off the floor. So it's the same activation through the arms. And then as you inhale, you're going to come forward. Bring your shoulders over your wrists. And you're going to lower your tailbone. So you're drawing your tailbone towards your heels, hugging your inner thighs in. And now you're going to pull your ribs down, push the floor away. So as you bend your arms and lower, it's as if you're still pushing the floor away. And then inhale, press yourself back up. And exhale back to your not downward dog, to your child's pose. And then inhale, come forwards again, come all the way forwards. Exhale, bend your elbows. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, back to child's pose. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you lower down an inch or you lower down a lot further, as long as you feel the sensation of strength as you lift yourself back up. So inhale, come forwards, and you keep pushing the floor away all the time. Bend your elbows. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, back. One more. Inhale, come forwards. You can do more if you can. Exhale, down. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, untuck your toes if you haven't tucked under like me. And again, interlace your fingers, and you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together, pull with your fingers. You can keep your elbows bent, or you can straighten your arms and lift them up in the air. So it's a big stretch for your wrists, and it's also a nice stretch for your arms and your shoulders from that half plank work. And then slowly release. Come back up onto all fours, and you're going to step your right foot forwards. So a little bit of stretching for the arms. You're going to inhale, reach your arms up. Make sure that your feet are on your knee or hip width apart. And then as you exhale, you're going to keep squaring off your hips, and you're going to sink into your lunge. And then you're going to bring your left hand to hold your right elbow, and bring your right hand down the middle of your back. So you're pulling as if you're trying to pull your arms back, but you're trying not to push your head forward. So you're pushing your head back into your arms, stretching out your triceps again, and then little pulses. So you're just dropping a little bit deeper. For 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. And then reach your arms up, big breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to sweep your arms back and squeeze. So you're going to contract your triceps at the top of that movement with your arms. Inhale, come back up. And exhale. Squeeze and lift. So you're strengthening. Inhale. Exhale. Squeeze and lift. Inhale. Exhale. Squeeze and lift. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your fingertips to the floor. So this is where you might need to use your bricks. Just going to straighten your right leg as a counter pose. You're going to pull that right hip back. Slide your left hip forwards. Kick this right heel into the floor. Push into your hands. Draw your heart forwards. Just stretching out all through. Back of that right leg. And then bend that right knee, bricks off to the side. Slide your right knee back and step your left foot forward. So you're just going to do the same thing on the left side. So inhale, come up. And squaring off your hips, exhale. Drop in a little bit deeper maybe into your lunge. And then taking your left hand down the centre of your back, and then holding your left elbow with your right hand and pushing your head back into your arms so that you get more of a stretch through this left tricep, and then little dips. So you're just deepening this opening in the front of your right thigh into your hip flexors on that right side. Just a little bit of a stretch. And then big breath in, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, reach your hands back and squeeze as you get to the end of your range of movement. Inhale. So you're contracting the backs of your arms as you lift up. Inhale, reach, and exhale, back, squeeze. Inhale, and exhale, squeeze. 2 more, inhale up, and exhale, squeeze. 1 more, inhale up, and exhale, fingertips down. Find your bricks, any height of your bricks, and start to straighten that left leg. So squaring off your hips, left hip back, right hip forwards, really kicking down into the floor with this left heel, pull your toes back, and then even lift your sit bones. That's when you're going to really feel the stretch. Push down with your fingertips to lift your chest away from the floor. Get a really, really nice stretch. And then bend your left knee, set your bricks off to the side, and slide this left knee back. So from here, you're going to come into forearm plank. Now, forearm plank might be a little bit tougher on your shoulders. We're not going to hold it for too long, but I want you to go through the key alignments with you without being on your wrist for this time, and then we'll move into plank pose. So you're going to have your hands with your fingers interlaced and your palms, the heels of your hands pushing together, and you're going to push down into the floor. So you're pushing the floor away with your elbows, you're hugging your elbows in towards one another. And then from here, you're going to stretch one leg back. So you want your feet to be hip width apart like you were before, and then stretch the other leg back. So you're pushing the floor away, lifting the space between your shoulder blades up. And then from here, like we did before, you're going to start to push your heels back, and you're going to start to really squeeze your legs and lower your tailbone. Pull your ribs down, lift your pelvic points up, and keep pushing the floor away. Okay? So those are the alignments that we're going to use in our plank pose. So just hold that for another couple of breaths. I know it's quite strong in your shoulders. And my shoulders are my weak area as well. So I want you to think about where you feel strong and where you don't feel as strong. When you come into your plank pose, see if you can bring a little bit more engagement where you don't feel as strong. Lowering your knees down, and then from here you're going to keep your left elbow on the floor and take your hand to the back of your head. Stretch your right arm up, and then from here, right side of your head down, you're going to lift that left elbow up and really press into this hole, press down into this right hand and stretch that right side, and then switch sides. So you're going to bring your right elbow to the floor, take your hand to the back of your head, and then lift that and away, lift that elbow up, your head to the floor, and really press, come onto the outside edge of that left hand, and really press and stretch into your tricep. And then release and walk your hands back. So we're going to come into our plank pose now. So you're going to set your hands up. You're going to bring the pads of your fingers down again. Line up your middle finger pointing straight forwards, and then lower down onto the third knuckle, and really grip with the pads of your fingers. So the weight is in that part of your hand. And then when you lower the heels of your hands down, all the weight's not going to dump into your wrists. And then hug your arm bones towards one another, push the floor away, wrap your triceps back, and then from here you're going to stretch your right leg back. So you're going to really engage and start pushing that foot away. You're going to push the floor away and keep squeezing that right leg, and step your left leg back. Feet are hip width apart, push both heels back, draw your tailbone down towards your heels. You're going to squeeze all the muscles in your legs. You're going to wrap your arms towards one another, pull your ribs down, lift your pelvic points up, push the floor away, round through your upper back a little bit. And then look for where you feel strong and where you don't feel as strong. And then just take another couple of breaths if you can. And then slowly lower your knees down. Sit your hips back onto your heels and slide your hands back. Make fists with your hands. Do some little circles through the wrists. And then bring the backs of your wrists onto the floor, push down, pull your fist back towards you. And stretching out there. And then extending your fingers out. And then just coming up to sit on your heels, and you're just going to bring your fingertips to face back towards you, and you're just going to do some little rocks. So you're allowing the heels of your hands to come up and just gently stretching out into your fingers, all that gripping with your fingers, just stretching that out a little bit. Good. And then from here, you're going to come all the way down onto your belly. You're going to do a twist. But from here, you're just going to bring your right knee up. And then maybe extend your right leg out and roll towards the sole of your foot. So you're stretching the inside edge, the outside edge. You don't have to straighten your leg. Having your knee bent is absolutely fine. You're just trying to sink your hip down towards the floor a little bit, but also roll it back and just feel the stretch wherever you can. You can also come down a little bit lower, so there's not as much, it doesn't actually feel that different, but when you come up onto your forearms, you're just going to stretch out here as well, stretch out your belly, because there's been a lot of work in the core. So I like to just pull back as if I'm trying to drag my elbows back so that I can get even more stretch through the my belly and stretch out there. And then bend that right knee again. I'm just going to come a little bit over towards this side. Thread your left arm through and roll into a twist. So you can support yourself in this twist with a brick underneath this right knee or a brick underneath your right hand, or both. Show you what that looks like. So you can bring a brick underneath that right knee, and you're just relaxing this right shoulder to the floor. Don't worry if it doesn't come to the floor, that's just the direction that you're moving in. And you can just gently sway your head from side to side. And find a position that's comfortable to lay your head. And as your right shoulder drops, if it comes to the floor, just taking the support away or lowering the support and rolling a little bit deeper, and then now you're dropping that right shoulder again. So you're just looking for your edge in the pose, always having something to stretch into without overdoing it. And then slowly roll back onto your belly and bring your left knee up. And maybe extend that left leg out to the left. Try and bend up. Coming right off my mat. And again, little stretch through the belly. So it's fine to have that left leg bent. That'll sound really loud on the video. Okay, stop doing that. Just drawing, lengthening through the inner and outer seams of the legs. And then rebending that left knee. threading your right arm through and rolling onto your back. So now your left knee is in the twist. And you're extending your left arm out to the left. So again, you can slide something underneath that knee. I always need something underneath this left knee at first. That's my tight side. Really extending this top hip away from you as you drop this left shoulder down towards the floor. And maybe after a few breaths, you can bring that knee to the floor or close to the floor, and then work on dropping that shoulder again. Press your lower back into the floor as you're going to come back onto your back now. And to finish, a symmetrical pose, so happy baby. Don't worry if you're not able to reach your feet. You can hold the backs of your calves or your thighs. And press your sacrum into the floor, press your shoulders into the floor, and press the back of your head into the floor. And just reset your spine. And then slowly release. Have your knees bent at first. See how your lower back feels. And then if it feels okay, you can just stretch your legs out and come back to where you began. This time, unless the floor's really cold or some other reason, have your arms out. You want to let go of any control of your breath now. Just let your whole body relax. Close your eyes and rest. Take as long as you can here. Pause your video, stay. Or when you're ready, shaking out your fingers, your toes, stretching, and then rolling to your side, and pressing yourself up to a seat. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't worry if you're not able to do everything straight away. Just keep going, and I'll see you on the next video.